My dear friends, let's take some coins, put it in the pushka. So we have tefillah, prayer, tzedakah, charity, and the third of the three pillars upon which the whole world exists, resides, is Torah, let us share it. Torah, especially today, I should say this week, the Shabbat, we're going to conclude the second book. And we're going to say Chazak, Chazak, V'nis Chazek, when the Baal Koreh, when the Torah reader will be concluding the reading of Shvi, the seventh portion, we will all together stand up and encourage each other. Say Chazak, Chazak, V'nis Chazek, give strength, take strength, let's share the strength. Which strength? The strength of the Torah. What is the book of Shemos concluding with? Parshas Pekudei. Pekudei is where Moshe Rabbeinu has commanded to the son of Aaron HaKohen to give a subtotal of all the expenses, everything that has happened in the Mishkan, all its construction and all inventory. And the pasuk says the following: Ele Pekudei HaMishkan. These are the numbers of the Mishkan. Mishkan ha'edus, the Mishkan of testimony. Asher pokad al pi Moshe, avodas halevim biyad Isamar ben Aharon HaKohen, which was commanded by Moshe, the task of the Levites, under the direction of Itamar, who was the son of Aaron HaKohen. Rashi observes, the Torah says, Eile Pekudei Mishkan, Mishkan Edus. The numbers of the Mishkan of testimony. Why does it say twice Mishkan? Why doesn't it just say, Eile Pekudei Mishkan Edus? These are the numbers of the Mishkan of the testimony. So Rashi says like this: Mishkan usually refers to the temple, God's dwelling place. But Mishkan also has that meaning of the word mashkin. Mashkin meaning security. You take a loan, you give something as a security to cover for the loan till we pay back the debt. God took two securities for the debt that we Jewish people owed him. What does it mean? The first temple and the second temple, they were both destroyed because we didn't behave the way we were supposed to. So we're indebted to him. So he took the two Mishkan, the two temples, the first and the second. He took it away from us, destroyed it. And he's holding it as a security for when we will merit to receive the third temple. Now there's an interesting halacha that when someone holds a security, must look after it. Must make sure that it stays intact. And make sure that if it's a living animal or whatever, it must be fed, it must be taken care of. And it has to be returned to the original owner in its full, perfect state. So what does it mean that God is holding the first and the second temple as a security for the third temple, where the third temple is it not the first or the second? So the idea is as follows: that the third one is not just the third in chronological order, it is one which includes in it the qualities and the virtues of both of the first and the second temple, because the first and the second were very different. The first temple was built in the time of Shlomo HaMelech. There was peace and tranquility. It was perfect. Godliness was completely revealed. The Holy Ark was present. The fire came down from heaven on the altar. The breastplate, the Urim V'Tumim, was responding to the inquiries that the Kohen Gadol would ask. The letters would light up for the questions that it was asked, what was necessary for all of Klal Yisrael. So it was a time of tremendous godly revelation. The shortcoming of it was that it was tremendous revelation, but the world wasn't ready for it. While there was so much holiness, there was also a lot of impurity. There was a lot of idol worshipping, false prophets. Why? Because the world did not transform yet. The second temple was built in time of exile, where people were actually under the rulership of Gentile nations. But It was the Gentile nation that wanted them to build the temple. In other words, it had affected the world. Not fully, but partially. This came through our work. So the first one could be considered tzaddikim. The second one is more Baalei Tshuva, people who made the effort on their own to transform. It didn't have the same godly revelations, but it was the people's temple. In other words, it was on their level, and they transformed the world. The third temple is going to include both qualities. It's going to have the greatest revelation of all. At the same time, we have transformed already. We purify the world. So this is what the Torah says. He's holding the two temples as a security because the third one is going to include them both. So Eibishter, time to return the security.